Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to start into Chapter 8, Section 2. In Chapter 8, Section 2, we're going to be dealing with multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. Now, those are really big fancy words. They sound complicated, but this is actually quite simple, and you actually have all the skills to do this already. So let me show you how this works. The monomial part is this part right here that you just see that I highlighted in red. That is the negative 3x squared. The next term, this, what I just highlighted in yellow, that is the polynomial. So what needs to happen is this monomial in red has to distribute to each term in the polynomial, just like that. And so you're going to use a distributive property, which you guys already know how to do, and then you're multiplying these terms together. And then you have your rules to multiply. So if you take a look down here, you can see that negative 3x squared multiplies the 7x squared. And then the negative 3x squared multiplies the negative x. And then the negative 3x squared multiplies the 4. Now, they wrote that step out before they actually did the multiplication. I am not going to do that because most people don't. They just multiply the stuff together and write it down. And if you do that, you're going to see this right there that I just underlined. That's what that is, when you multiply each of those terms together. And then finally, they cleaned up the double negative and the plus a negative, and then got our final answer right here. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's do a couple problems and see what happens. So we're going to take this 5a squared and we're going to distribute it to all of this in here. So that's going to involve multiplying the 5a squared times the negative 4a squared, the 5a squared times the 2a, and the 5a squared times the negative 7. So let's do each piece. So 5a squared times negative 4a squared, 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And then a squared times a squared becomes a to the 4th. You add their exponents. Now moving on, the 5a squared multiplies the 2a, and it becomes 5 times 2 is 10. And then a squared times a is a to the 3rd. And now finally, 5a squared times negative 7 becomes negative 35a squared. And there you go. That's your final answer. Negative 20a to the 4th plus 10a to the 3rd minus 35a squared. All right, let's try another one. So same as before, we're going to multiply this monomial that I just highlighted in orange by that polynomial that I just highlighted in yellow. So the orange monomial needs to distribute to each of the terms. In this case, there's 4 terms, so that has to get distributed to all 4 terms. So negative 6d to the 3rd times 3d to the 4th. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. D to the 3rd times d to the 4th is d to the 7th. Then we have negative 6d to the 3rd times negative 2d to the 3rd. So that becomes negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12d to the 6th. Powers on the exponent powers on the variables always add. Negative 6d to the 3rd times negative 1d. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. And then d to the 3rd times d to the 1st is d to the 4th. And then the last one is negative 6d to the 3rd times positive 9. A negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 9 is 54. And then it's d to the 3rd. That's just kind of along for the ride because the 9 doesn't have a variable it should combine with. And there you go. Double check there's nothing to combine any like terms, which there isn't, so we're done. All right, guys, that's going to conclude the lecture for today. Hope you're doing well. Take care.